Have you ever noticed that when someone truly loves you, they never disappear for long? No matter how far they run, no matter how confused they become, something inside them keeps pulling them back to you. Because soulmate love is not ordinary love. It is emotional gravity. And tonight, I'm going to show you the hidden signs that prove your soulmate can never fully let you go. Make sure you subscribe right now, like this video, and comment "Soul Connection" below if you have ever felt someone still attached to your spirit even after separation. Because later in this video, I'm going to reveal the one painful thing soulmates do when they are terrified of losing the person they love most, and most people never see it coming. There is a difference between attraction and soul attachment. Attraction is temporary. It reacts to beauty, attention, excitement, and fantasy. But soulmate love reaches much deeper than emotion. It enters the subconscious mind. And once that happens, a person can try to leave physically, but mentally and spiritually, they never truly escape you. Psychologists have studied emotional imprinting for years. When two people create intense emotional experiences together, the brain forms powerful neurological connections. This is why some people move on quickly after a breakup, while others think about one person for years. Their mind became attached to the emotional identity of that person. Now imagine when that bond is not just emotional, but spiritual too. That connection becomes unforgettable. Your soulmate may act distant sometimes. They may become cold. They may even pretend they no longer care. But deep inside, they carry your energy everywhere they go. You become part of their inner world. And no new relationship can completely erase that. This is why soulmate connections often feel strange. You think about them before they text you. You suddenly feel emotional for no reason, and later discover they were thinking about you too. You dream about them repeatedly. You feel their sadness even when they are silent. Because real soulmate love creates invisible emotional communication. And the scary part: most people experience this only once in their lifetime. A soulmate who truly loves you cannot fully detach from you because your presence changes their psychology forever. You become connected to their sense of comfort, identity, and emotional safety. Even when they try to ignore you, their nervous system remembers you. That is why some people suddenly come back after months or even years apart. Not because they got bored. Not because they had no other options. But because their soul never found peace without you. And here is something very few people understand. Sometimes the person who loves you the deepest is the one who struggles the most to express it. Why? Because deep love creates fear. The stronger the emotional connection becomes, the more terrified they become of losing it. So instead of moving closer, they sometimes pull away. Instead of saying "I love you," they act confusing. Instead of being vulnerable, they hide behind pride. This confuses many people. They think mixed signals mean fake love. But psychologically, people often sabotage the connections that matter most because emotional vulnerability feels dangerous. A soulmate connection forces people to confront their deepest insecurities. Their fear of abandonment. Their fear of rejection. Their fear of not being enough. That is why soulmate relationships are rarely simple. They are intense mirrors. Your soulmate may disappear temporarily because they are emotionally overwhelmed. But something strange always happens. They return emotionally. Maybe through a message. Maybe through dreams. Maybe through memories that suddenly hit both of you at the same time. Because real soul connections refuse to die quietly. And if someone truly loves you on a soulmate level, they cannot watch you become completely distant forever. Something inside them starts breaking. They feel restless, empty, emotionally irritated without understanding why. Why? Because your energy became part of their emotional balance. You see, human beings are wired for attachment. And soulmate love creates one of the strongest forms of attachment possible. This is why they keep checking your social media secretly. Why they reread old conversations. Why songs suddenly remind them of you. Why random places trigger emotional memories. Why they compare new people to you without realizing it. Because when someone truly loves you deeply, your presence becomes psychologically embedded into their emotional experience of life itself. And here is where things become even deeper spiritually. Some soulmate connections feel guided by timing. You meet them unexpectedly. You separate unexpectedly. And somehow life keeps reconnecting you in strange ways. You run into them randomly. You hear their name everywhere. You think about them moments before they contact you. Some people call this coincidence. But spiritually aware people understand something else may be happening. Certain souls are meant to transform each other. Not every soulmate is meant to stay forever. But the ones who truly love you leave permanent marks on your spirit. And when that love is mutual, letting go feels almost impossible. You may move forward in life. You may grow. You may date other people. But deep inside, the connection remains alive. Because soulmate love is not based only on physical presence. It exists in emotional memory, in spiritual familiarity, in subconscious attachment. And that is why closure feels difficult with soulmates. You are not just losing a relationship. You are losing a psychological and spiritual bond that became part of your identity. This is also why some soulmate relationships become addictive. Not because they are toxic necessarily, but because the emotional intensity creates dopamine and emotional dependency patterns in the brain. One message from them changes your entire mood. One moment of distance ruins your peace. One hug from them feels safer than anything else in the world. That kind of emotional effect does not happen with ordinary people. Now listen carefully, because this next part explains why soulmates can never truly let each other go. When someone deeply loves you, they memorize you emotionally. Not just your face, not just your voice, but your energy, your emotional reactions, your silence, your pain, your laugh, the way you comfort them, the way you look at them when nobody else understands them. And once someone experiences that level of emotional recognition, ordinary connections start feeling empty. This is why people often return to the person they called home. Home is not always a place. Sometimes home is a soul. And if your soulmate truly loved you, they will always carry a part of you within them. Even if they marry someone else. Even if they move to another city. Even if years pass. There will always be moments when your memory suddenly returns to them with overwhelming force. Because soulmate memories are emotionally alive. One smell, one song, one dream, one late night silence, and suddenly they feel you again. This is why people say some love stories never truly end. Because emotionally and spiritually, they continue inside the heart long after physical separation. But here is the painful truth many people avoid. Sometimes soulmate love is real, but emotional maturity is missing. And this creates suffering. A person can deeply love you and still hurt you because they have not healed their trauma. They can love you and still run away because they fear intimacy. They can love you and still choose pride over communication. Love alone does not automatically create healthy behavior. That is why wisdom matters. Because not every soulmate connection is meant to become permanent romance immediately. Some connections exist to awaken growth first. And growth hurts. Soulmate relationships often trigger emotional wounds hidden for years. Suddenly you become insecure, overly emotional, obsessive, fearful, sensitive. You wonder why this person affects you so deeply compared to everyone else. Because soulmates activate the parts of you that were emotionally asleep. And that can feel beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Now let me tell you the hidden behavior many soulmates show when they cannot let go. They watch from a distance, even when they stop talking, even when they pretend to move on, even when they act emotionally unavailable. They still monitor your energy quietly. Why? Because emotionally they are still connected to you. Sometimes they suddenly like an old photo. Sometimes they ask mutual friends about you. Sometimes they disappear and then randomly return acting casual. But deep inside, they are checking whether your heart still remembers them too. This happens because soulmate love creates emotional possession without control. They feel attached to your existence itself. And the more authentic the love was, the harder it becomes to release emotionally. Now I want you to think about someone while listening to this. Someone you still feel connected to even after distance. Someone whose energy still affects your emotions. Someone you cannot fully forget no matter how much time passes. There is a reason for that. The human soul recognizes familiarity beyond logic. And psychology supports this in an interesting way. People become emotionally bonded through repeated vulnerability and emotional safety. When someone truly sees your authentic self and accepts it, your brain records them as emotionally significant. That significance does not disappear easily. Which explains why some people stay emotionally attached to one person for decades. Not because they are weak, but because the emotional imprint was powerful. Now spiritually, many believe soulmate love exists to teach unconditional growth. Not fantasy, not perfection. Growth. Your soulmate exposes your fears so you can heal them. They challenge your ego. They trigger transformation. And through that emotional fire, both souls evolve. That is why soulmate love often feels destined. Not because everything becomes easy, but because the connection changes you permanently. You are not the same person after experiencing real soulmate love. Your standards change. Your emotional awareness deepens. Your understanding of connection transforms. And that is why fake relationships become easier to recognize afterward. Because once your soul experiences genuine emotional depth, superficial connections feel empty. This is also why some people become emotionally lost after soulmate separation. Nothing else feels as intense. Nothing else feels as meaningful. But here is what you must remember. If someone truly loves you deeply, they will eventually feel the emotional consequences of losing you. At first, pride may distract them. Ego may protect them. Temporary excitement may numb them. But eventually silence becomes heavy. Because the soul notices absence differently than the ego does. The ego says, I can replace them. The soul says, nobody feels the same. And that realization changes everything. This is why some people suddenly come back emotionally transformed. They finally understand what they lost. They finally understand the emotional safety you gave them. They finally understand why nobody else could touch their soul the same way. But listen carefully. Do not confuse obsession with soulmate love. Real soulmate love does not destroy your peace completely. It teaches growth, truth, emotional depth, and self-awareness. If someone manipulates you constantly, abuses you, controls you, or drains your spirit endlessly, that is not spiritual love. That is emotional dysfunction. A soulmate may challenge you, but they should also inspire healing. And this matters deeply because many people romanticize pain. They think suffering automatically means destiny. But spiritually healthy love should still contain respect, honesty, and emotional responsibility. Now here comes the part most people never talk about. Sometimes your soulmate cannot let you go because you awaken the version of themselves they were meant to become. Before meeting you, they may have lived emotionally asleep. disconnected from vulnerability, disconnected from purpose, disconnected from authenticity. But your love changed them. You made them feel deeply again. You made them question their emotional walls. You made them confront the emptiness they were hiding from. And once someone experiences emotional awakening through love, they never fully forget the person who caused it. This is why soulmate love feels unforgettable. You are not just remembering the person. You are remembering who you became with them. That emotional identity becomes sacred. And that is why people cry years later over someone they truly loved. Not because they are pathetic, but because some connections permanently shape the human heart. Now I want to say something directly to the people listening who feel abandoned by someone they believe is their soulmate. Do not chase endlessly. Yes, soulmate love is powerful. Yes, deep connections are real. But true love should eventually move toward honesty, not endless confusion. A soulmate who truly values you will eventually recognize your worth emotionally. They will not remain comfortable losing you forever. And if they do, then your lesson may not be reunion. Your lesson may be self-worth. Sometimes the deepest spiritual awakening happens when you stop begging for love and start choosing yourself. Because strangely enough, soulmates often reconnect when both people finally heal their desperation. Desperation pushes love away. Inner peace attracts clarity. This is why emotionally mature soulmate relationships feel calm beneath the intensity. There is trust, patience, emotional accountability. Not just passion. Passion alone burns fast. Soul connection survives storms. And when your soulmate truly loves you, they remember the emotional details others ignore. The way your voice changed when you were sad. The things you feared telling the world. The dreams you almost gave up on. The hidden pain behind your smile. Because real love pays attention. And this emotional attentiveness creates deep bonding. Most people only listen to respond. A soulmate listens to understand. That kind of emotional intimacy becomes impossible to replace easily. Which explains why some people keep returning emotionally to the same person despite trying to move on repeatedly. Their soul recognizes emotional authenticity there. Now let me reveal the mini cliffhanger I mentioned earlier. The painful thing soulmates often do when they are terrified of losing you is they test your love by creating distance. Yes. Instead of openly saying, "I'm scared," they become distant. Cold. Confusing. Unavailable. Why? Because emotionally wounded people sometimes test whether you will chase them. It is subconscious fear behavior. They want reassurance without vulnerability. But this creates emotional chaos because the other person feels rejected and confused. This is why communication matters deeply in soulmate relationships. Without emotional maturity, even real love can become painful. Now think about this carefully. If someone truly does not care about you, they detach peacefully. But soulmate separation rarely feels peaceful. There is emotional tension. Repeated returns. Unfinished conversations. Unexpected emotional waves. Dreams. Synchronicities. Lingering attachment. Because deep love leaves echoes in the human spirit. And sometimes those echoes last a lifetime. You may meet thousands of people in life, but only a few truly touch your soul. Only a few say you completely. Only a few feel emotionally familiar from the beginning. Only a few awaken both your deepest fears and deepest love simultaneously. That is soulmate energy. And when that love is real, letting go becomes one of the hardest emotional experiences a person can face. But remember this too. The purpose of soulmate love is not possession. It is transformation. Whether they stay forever or not, the connection exists to evolve both souls. Sometimes reunion happens. Sometimes separation becomes permanent. But the emotional lessons remain forever. And maybe that is why soulmate love feels eternal. Because even after distance, even after silence, even after heartbreak, part of them still lives inside you. And part of you still lives inside them. So if you are thinking about someone right now, someone your heart still cannot fully release, ask yourself honestly. Was it just attraction? Or did that connection change your soul forever? Because temporary people fade naturally. But soulmate love leaves emotional fingerprints on your spirit for life. If this video spoke to your heart, subscribe right now for more deep psychological and spiritual truths about love, relationships, and human connection. Like this video if you believe real soulmate love still exists. And comment below, some souls never forget each other. Because your story may help someone else realize they are not alone. And there is another truth about soulmate love that almost nobody is prepared for. Sometimes the person who cannot let you go is also the person pretending the hardest that they already did. They post happy pictures. They act emotionally detached. They try to look unbothered. But deep inside, your absence keeps speaking to them in quiet moments. Late at night, during long drives, in crowded rooms where they still somehow feel alone. Because soulmate love does not disappear simply because someone hides their emotions well. And this is where psychology becomes fascinating. The human brain is deeply affected by emotionally significant memories. When someone experiences intense emotional bonding, the mind creates neural pathways connected to that person. That is why even years later, one small reminder can suddenly reactivate powerful feelings. A voice, a perfume, a message tone, a song you both loved. Suddenly the emotions return all at once. Not because the connection was fake, but because it was emotionally unfinished. And many soulmate connections feel unfinished because the love arrived before both people were emotionally ready for it. Think about that carefully. Sometimes two souls meet at the right spiritual time, but the wrong emotional maturity level. One person still fears commitment. The other still fears abandonment. One struggles to communicate. The other struggles to trust. So the connection becomes intense, beautiful, painful, unforgettable. And no matter how far they go afterward, they carry the emotional scars and lessons of that love forever. Comment below right now, real soul connections never fade. I want to know how many people listening have experienced a connection they still cannot explain logically. Because the truth is, soulmate love often feels irrational. You try to move on. You tell yourself it is over. You distract yourself. You meet new people. But something inside you still remembers them emotionally. And maybe the hardest part is this. You can miss someone deeply, even when you know the relationship was complicated. That confuses many people. They think if love was real, it should have been easy. But soulmate connections are rarely easy at first. They are emotional awakenings disguised as relationships. Your soulmate forces you to confront the parts of yourself you tried to avoid. Your jealousy, your fears, your attachment wounds, your emotional patterns. That is why soulmate love changes people permanently. After experiencing that kind of connection, you stop seeing love casually. You stop tolerating shallow emotional energy. You stop accepting fake intimacy. Because now you know what genuine emotional depth feels like. And once you feel that, ordinary attention no longer impresses you. This is why many people become emotionally withdrawn after losing a soulmate connection. They are not trying to be difficult. They are grieving emotional intensity that felt irreplaceable. Now let me tell you something spiritually powerful. Some soulmates enter your life to remind you who you really are. Before them, you may have doubted your worth. You may have hidden your emotions. You may have settled for less than you deserved. Then suddenly this person appears and awakens something inside you. You start feeling alive again, hopeful again, emotionally open again. And even if separation happens later, you can never fully return to the old version of yourself. Because love transformed you. That is why soulmate love leaves permanent emotional fingerprints. And here is another sign your soulmate truly cannot let you go. They keep trying to recreate you in other people. Without realizing it, they search for your energy everywhere. Your kindness, your voice, your emotional depth, your understanding, your chemistry. But something always feels missing. Because deep down, they are not searching for just anyone. They are searching for the feeling you gave them. And authentic emotional connection cannot be copied easily. This is why some people stay emotionally attached for years. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because no replacement feels emotionally genuine. Now I want to pause for a moment and ask you something important. Have you ever felt someone thinking about you before they contacted you? Have you ever dreamed about someone repeatedly during separation? Have you ever felt emotionally connected to one person despite time and distance? If yes, comment, "I felt it too." Because many people are afraid to admit how spiritually intense certain connections feel. But emotional energy is real. Human intuition is real. Subconscious attachment is real. And sometimes the soul notices things before the mind understands them. This is why soulmate love often feels telepathic. You suddenly think about them strongly, then they appear. You feel emotional heaviness, and later discover they were struggling too. You try to forget them, but dreams keep bringing them back into your subconscious. Psychology explains part of this through emotional imprinting and subconscious memory. Spirituality explains the rest through energetic connection. Either way, the experience feels impossible to ignore. Now here is the dangerous side of soulmate love nobody warns people about. If you lose yourself completely inside the connection, the relationship becomes unhealthy. A soulmate should deepen your identity, not erase it. Yes, deep love creates attachment. Yes, separation hurts. But your soul still deserves peace, self-respect, and emotional balance. Never allow love to turn into emotional self-destruction. Because true soulmate love ultimately pushes you toward growth, not permanent suffering. And sometimes growth means learning to stop chasing people who are emotionally unavailable. That lesson changes lives. Many people think soulmate love means endless waiting. But spiritually mature love includes action, honesty, and emotional accountability too. Love is not only what someone feels. It is what they consistently choose. Read that again in your heart. Love is not only what someone feels. It is what they consistently choose. A soulmate who truly values you will eventually show emotional courage. Maybe not immediately. Maybe after healing. Maybe after painful lessons. But real love eventually seeks truth. And this is why some soulmate reunions happen years later. Both people needed time to evolve emotionally. One had to learn communication. One had to learn self-worth. One had to heal trust issues. One had to stop running from vulnerability. Then life reconnects them when their souls are finally ready for healthier love. That is why timing matters so much in soulmate connections. Sometimes love is real immediately, but emotional readiness takes longer. And if you have ever experienced this kind of connection, you know exactly what I mean. No matter how much time passes, the emotional thread still exists quietly underneath everything. You may not speak every day. You may not even see each other anymore. But the emotional memory remains alive. And maybe that is because the deepest soulmate connections are not based only on romance. They are based on recognition. The feeling that someone truly saw your soul. That feeling is rare. In a world full of surface-level conversations and temporary attention, genuine emotional recognition feels sacred. And once someone experiences that with you, forgetting you completely becomes almost impossible. This is why soulmate love often survives silence. Because the connection exists deeper than words. Now imagine this moment. Years from now, they hear your name unexpectedly. And suddenly every emotion returns. The memories, the chemistry, the conversations, the comfort, the pain of losing you. That is the power of emotionally significant love. The soul remembers what changed it. So if someone truly loved you on a soulmate level, trust this. You mattered far more than they probably admitted. Even if pride hid it. Even if fear complicated it. Even if silence separated you. Real soulmate love leaves emotional echoes that never fully disappear. And sometimes the strongest proof that someone cannot let you go is how often life keeps bringing your energy back into their heart when they least expect it. So before this video ends, I want you to think deeply about one final question. Who is the person your soul still remembers even after everything? And do you think they still remember you too? Comment below. Some connections are eternal. And if this message touched your spirit, subscribe now, like this video, and stay connected for more deep psychological and spiritual truths about love, soulmates, and the hidden emotions people rarely talk about.